Alright, on this video I want to talk about the Saddleback Leather Book Bag. Of course, I'm not using it to carry books.
One, two, three.
I'm using it to carry as my daily carry. I extensively studied the website and looked at all the different satchel styles they had. I knew I wanted a small one. It's really hard to tell by reading the dimensions on a website. So I took a piece of paper, it's 8.5 by 11. You know how big that is. And I just sort of looked at the dimensions and wrote on there where that bag fell within that piece of paper. And that really helped me sort of to visualize how big the bags were. I decided on this one because it was the smallest of all the satchels. There's another one, I think it's called the front pocket satchel, that's more of a portrait than a landscape mode, and it's real close to the same size. Maybe it's more like that size. But I decided on this one, and I'm really glad I did. But I've made some modifications to it, and I wanted to talk to you about those modifications. It's really funny because one of the things I wanted was to have a bag with a saddleback leather buckle, because that's sort of a signature of saddleback leather, the way that buckle looks. But when I got it, I realized it's a two-handed operation, and I wanted to make it a one-handed operation. I found myself actually dreading having, I need to get that out of my purse, and I'm like, no, I don't want to undo it. So one of the things I had to do was to come up with a way to make this easier to get into, and I tried a couple of different things, and this is the one I finished with, and I love it. And it really didn't alter the bag all that much. It did alter the bag. So if you're going to alter your bag, make sure it's a keeper, because any alterations are considered damage. I think the warranty goes out the window. Okay, so what I did was I simply took a strip of saddleback leather scrap, put 2 rivets right into the holes that are in the buckle, the flap for the buckle. And my husband, I tried to remove this little center part of the buckle. I couldn't do it. I could not bend that metal for the life of me. So I asked my husband very nicely if he would get rid of that for me, and he actually cut it off with a Dremel tool of some sort. I could hear the grinding in the other room. And now it's basically a D-ring. So so that was the bottom two. The bottom two, I put rivets in them, right into the holes that already existed. So I haven't damaged. I can take those rivets out, and it should just have the holes just like a bag would have. And so these are riveted in place. Then I put a strip of leather there, and then I put a nipple rivet right in here, which is also in the existing hole. And the way you do this is you just fold this down, you do that, and then you put this little thing through the nipple rivet, and that makes it one-handed to get in and out of this bag. And that's really nice when you're driving and you just need to grab your money in the drive-thru. I've practiced it for several days. I'm getting pretty good at it. So that's my fix. And I still have that buckle look to this bag. So I was able to keep that. The other thing I did is I wanted to add some internal storage, just sort of to make things where they don't fall into the bottom of the bag. And so I made made 2 little things, and they have magnets. I use magnets to attach them over the side of the bag, so they can go in. Their width is the same width of the bag, and the magnet holds them in place. And that keeps my earbuds, in this one for example, my earbuds are not in the bottom of the bag, so I can easily grab them. They have a place. I'm a type A personality. Place for everything, everything in its place. Then I have a pen holder on this side, which keeps my pens very handy. And so you can see now I have 2 little pockets, one on each side. Takes up very little space from the main part of the bag, and they're fixed in place. They haven't damaged the bag at all. They're magnets. In this pocket here, one of the things I found, I have this old thing. This is vintage. It actually holds a sharpening stone, but it was leather, and so I bought it. It's great for my glasses. And by putting that in there, it keeps my glasses always standing up, right there, easy to grab. My comb fits in there, medicines, things like that. And then there's plenty of room in here for anything else I need to carry. My wallet, my keys, they're down there. And so this has plenty of room for the essentials and maybe a little more than the essentials. So that's the basic modifications. And I just kept going with this bag. One of the things I did was I added this little pouch to the strap, and it holds chapstick, lipstick, and usually there's a artificial sweetener tucked in there. I don't even have to get in my bag for the things I grab the most often, which turns out to be my chapstick. There's a pocket back here. My phone slips really easily in and out of that pocket. Now let's talk about two of the sort of the problems I had with this bag. This bag comes with a strap similar to this one. It's longer, but it's basically two pieces and a buckle, and then this tail hangs down. It's so long that when I adjusted it, the tail hung down to here or even past to be comfortable. And I think that's because this is basically sold as a man's bag, and they're trying to fit it to people who could be over 6 feet tall. So what I did, and the buckle was a problem. So for a while, and that tail flapping around was a problem. So for a while, I just took this one off of another bag that I had and used it. And that's fine and dandy, except that this one, the buckle hits right at my shoulder and was always a pain. Plus, these things are really heavy. And every time I was setting the thing down, the metal was clanking against something and causing a lot of noise. And so I was looking at this bag, which has a really great shoulder strap design, because it's one piece of leather and it's adjustable here with a nipple rivet that you undo, and you can just move it to a different spot and make it shorter or longer. I thought, well, how can I do that with this one? Well, it turns out that the shoulder strap they give you with this bag is so long with the two pieces that basically, for me, and I'm 5'2", I don't know if it'll work for you, but basically I took the two pieces apart and took off the part with the buckle, so that I just had one long strap, which is this part here. That's just one side of that strap. And then on this end, I had some nipple rivets. I just did the same thing she did with the other one. And they're really tight, but it doesn't matter because you don't have to adjust them that often. But I just put the nipple rivet in one of the existing holes, attached it on the other side to another one of the existing holes, and now this strap, it's so much nicer. It's decreased the weight of the bag, it's decreased the, I call it the clankability, you know, whenever you set the thing down it would clank. Really what it was probably is this thing was clanking on everything that I set this bag down with. I really like that. It hits my shoulder just right. There's no hardware bothering me there. It doesn't clank when I set it down. It just really solved the problem for me. The other problem I had with this was there was no top handle. Almost all their other satchels come with a top handle. This one didn't, and I have problems with my hands, and it's hard for me to grab things. It's just I have, I don't know, bursitis or something, and it's just part of being older. And so I really wanted a handle on the top to grab. So I worked with a couple of different things, trial and error, and I finally came up with this. It's basically just a loop. The top part of it is double layered and stitched. The underside of it has a built-in pin holder. That's just sort of to cover up some of where I had to join the two together. This slips right over the lid, like this. Put my pin in there. And when I carry it, I can just lift it easily by this, moving it from place to place, grabbing it out of the car. And I have the added benefit that on the inside, there's now a pin holder, and that it doesn't get in my way. It's not hanging down. It's a very snug fit, and it really is working for me, and it didn't alter the bag. I'm really happy with those modifications, and you may be perfectly happy with the bag the way it comes. Everybody's needs are different, and so these are just a few things I did with this bag. So let me compare the size of this to the medium clutch. They're very similar in width. They're very similar in depth. And where they're different is in the height. And that height makes quite a bit of difference. I can put a lot more in here than I can put in here, but I like both of them. This one also comes with a 2-part strap. But once you make this modification on this strap, you can just take this strap off of your other bags, all bags, and just switch it around. The other bag I wanted to compare this to is the Coach Willis. I really like the Coach Willis bag, but I always thought it was a little bit big for me. And you can see it is even bigger than this one. I don't know if you can see all 3 of those. So if the Coach Willis was a little bit smaller, I mean this is a vintage bag, but if it was a little bit smaller, shorter like this one, it would be pretty perfect because it's easy to get into. It's got good leather. It's floppy. It's sturdy with this bar, but it's just not a saddleback bag. Yeah, I'm kind of into the saddleback bags right now. So that's, if you know the Coach Willis bag, you can see that this one's smaller. Alright, so that's the book bag. I do love it. The things I didn't like: the buckle, hard to get into, but that's just a personal preference. The strap, too long. Everything I was able to fix. And this is not difficult. If you know somebody that can punch a few holes in leather and add a few rivets, then you can do this same modification to your bag. And or just, don't latch it every time. It does fine. The lid doesn't come up if you grab it or you have it on your shoulder, because these are in the back. The lid doesn't naturally flop open. Even using my handle, it just sort of goes to that point. That's a little bit of information on the Saddleback Leather Book Bag, and I hope that you found something you can use in this video. Thank you. Bye.